What's up, y'all? Rich Slayton here with the DEDsafio Royale semifinals from the live-streamed event in person, offline at Dreamhack in Valencia, Spain. Now, if you're just joining us here for the semifinal, the quarterfinal part 1 and part 2 are both on the channel right now. Go ahead and check those out if you want to before you see the results here. But of course, if you're here for it, you know you're here for it. Let's take a look at the results so far. We are in the semifinals. Morten versus Lucas, one of the two matches we'll be seeing in the video today. What an unbelievable matchup. And of course, Vitor and Ruben. This is a live event that was at Dreamhack Valencia, Spain, streamed exclusively on Twitch. So I'm bringing it here for you on YouTube. Those of you who are not Twitchers, you get it right here on the YouTube channel. So hopefully you enjoy it. And of course, always want to bring you all the best stuff right here. And what's better than Morten versus Lucas, Vitor versus Ruben? Potential rematch of our 2020 World Finals with Morten and potentially going up against Ruben. That would be a whole lot of fun. And yes, not just pride on the line, 15,000 euros for our overall prize pool at the live portion of this, with 6K going to first place. So this is a pretty significant prize pool, the last major event to end what has already been a phenomenal 2022 and to kick us into 2023. And of course, this is the most fun place for Clash Royale esports. So if you haven't yet, go help subscribe to the channel, like this video, do all that stuff. Make sure you're back here because we had big Clash Royale esports here in 2020 and 2022, 2020 as well. We did, if you go back way, whatever. In 2022, big Clash Royale esports here, and even bigger stuff coming in 2023. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I hope that you're a part of it the entire way. Now we can see if we just jump on the stage right now. Here we go, jumping into the action. It's Lucas and Morten, and of course, both these guys now have some significant on-stage experience. Morten may be the most experienced, though, at this competition. So maybe Mortar on both sides here. Skeleton King for Lucas, Miner plus Cannon Cart out for Morten. So looking more like RG for Lucas. This is in dual mode format, so you may not repeat cards over the course of a single best of 3. Dual mode being the dominant format of competitive for the last 2 years. It seems like it'll continue to be so. Although I saw that Mega Draft duel getting some love from some of the pros over the last couple of days. And Morten gets a very nice early shot. Goes to the outside here. Snowball plus Giant Skeleton keeps the Miner off the tower, but it is Morten with the lead, 27-28 to 30-52, untouched. Well, never mind, 29-36 on the opposite side. And not going to Royal Giant into the mortar as of yet. Snowball's interesting. Maybe this isn't RG because of the snowball. Fisherman makes it feel like it's Royal Giant. Dark Prince to cover. I mean, Fisherman's almost exclusively Royal Giant here, but could it be a Graveyard variation with Giant Skeleton, Hunter, Snowball, Arrows? We'll find out pretty soon if that's the case, as we are just 8 seconds away from sudden death overtime. Mortar's up. Yeah, it's not gonna be Royal Giant now with multiple mortars at the bridge not met. Giant Skeleton protecting the Fisherman. Miner gets pulled off, and that's a nice little sequence there for Lucas as Morten gets the Dark Prince down behind. The lead now only a couple hundred HP in the favor of Morten. And it is Graveyard. Yeah, the Fish Boy definitely made it feel like it was Royal Giant, but Zappies, then Hunter, and then you see Snowball. Lucas able to tighten the lead a bit, log, guards, and poison. 3 solid responses for the Graveyard from Morten. And so far, of course, you've seen nice pickup, and that's a big connection for Morten. Not just getting tower, but also getting those zappies. This feels more and more like Morten's game, although dual lane pressure is going to make this a little bit more difficult. Mortar getting more shots in, guards to work against the Skeleton King. That ability won't do too much here as the Miner works on the left-hand side. Morten comfortable in this defense. And Lucas has had trouble with these mortars. He's had a lot of trouble with these mortars. And Morten just going for a little bit of chip, and to keep that mortar protected a bit longer, gets the zappies off the board. Right, and that's what one of those big things separates top-tier pros from everybody else. Just some comfortable, not rushing it choices. Morten decided to play the game at the bridge there, and they get his damage from the Miner. Notice that Morten's not playing that poison a whole lot, saving it, of course, for the graveyard. But also just not wanting to spend a whole lot right now either. The main way Morten loses this is by overspending and getting caught flat-footed. And you see Lucas not really liking the way that that sequence went down. 45 seconds left. Morten ahead by a little over 1,000 HP. Playing the same lane game for these two. The Dark Prince does not get an extra shot, but the Miner goes to the back and makes the Fisherman walk all the way around. So great Miner placement there for Morten. Just has to play some smart defense here. Guards way in the back. Poison on offense, as much to slow the push as it is to get damage on tower. And there you go. GG, well played. Morten takes game number 1. And you saw just a really, really smart play overall from that Miner play. And I'll go ahead and let's see if we can get some music back on here. Really, really smart Miner play overall from Morten. Plus that poison. Again, that poison just as much to keep the action with that slow. And it's important to think about this, right? Poison didn't have slow for many years. And then adding that slow in has really kind of reinvigorated it overall in the meta. Sure, some other meta shifts have been important for it as well. But Morten doing a good job there of not rushing it, not pushing the pace too heavily. And once he knew he had the killing, he was able to get the killing blow in from one move away. Poisons to get the tower down low enough, keep the push on the opposing side, and get the GG well played there. As we saw in our first quarterfinal, if you guys go back and look at that video, Morten working with someone from the iPad, not sure who it was helping him for this event. Again, I thought it was Julesy who helped him, who was his coach and partner for deck picking overall at World Finals this year. Made a great run to second. Of course, then the inevitable happened, and Muhammad Light won the whole thing, for those of you who somehow missed out on CRL World Finals. Lucas working with Jebbiz. And, of course, Jebbiz and Julesy have really become the top 2 guys in the game. You have a lot of other really great guys out there in terms of coaching and deck picking. But Jebbiz and Julesy really have been going back and forth with the top-tier pros in this last year and a half or so. So should be just about ready for us to jump into game number 2. Morten with the advantage. And those of you who have not met Morten, by the way, I know you're like, oh, he looks pretty tall on screen. Check him out next time he stands next to that referee. Morten, I believe 6'7" overall. And here we go, jumping into game number 2. Log out. I don't think we're going to see bait out of Lucas. Oh, we do. Never mind. I was going to say, like, oh, that would be too obvious with Log being out for Lucas to play bait, but Lucas goes right to it. And Drill for Morten. Arrows being out does pump Drill a little bit. Arrows and Snowball both. Mega Knight does get stalled out there a little bit, but does get one shot. Morten with another early lead here. 23.99 on that right-hand tower as the very, very fast play. And this is important because, you know, we saw the Mega Knight as the counter to the first bait push. Morten playing Zap here in game number 2. You see a little nod there, maybe recognizing he's in a bad spot. So lead still for Morten as we pass by the first minute, but only by a few HP. Spit wall breakers here at the bridge. And Musketeer has seen a bit of a comeback as of late in duel mode. Nice bomb tower there. Will clean up a lot of that. The timing perfect. Does not allow Goblin hits. Just the drill pot, but it is Lucas with the lead. And Morten forced to arrows. He doesn't like that either. He knows there's a few arrows targets. Now he's going to have to find other ways to control the Dart Goblin up high. Yeah. Yep, he sees it. Plus these goblins. Bats will give up a little bit of damage here as we go a few seconds away from sudden death overtime. Lucas going with the obvious pick with bait with log out, and Morten just not quite preparing for it. Zap is a really interesting choice. Arrows, Mega Knight, and with the right timing, the Mighty Miner Bomb are the primary counters for him against that Goblin Barrel. Curious about what the deck pick that Morten and whoever was coaching him had for this one, what they put Lucas on in the matchup. I don't think bait was it. Switching lanes now is Morten, drill to the left-hand side. And that's, I think it's a little bit lazy there from Lucas. Maybe needed to go to the inside. Maybe, I think really when you know that most likely, unless it's arrows, it's Mega Knight, I think you got to spread those goblins out a little bit. But he's back around so fast, it doesn't really matter. Look at that damage in 1401. Man, that is so fast around. These barrels are flying heavy. It's only double elixir, and there's already so many goblin barrels. I mean, the pacing of these right now. This deck gets around very quickly. When you have that Mighty Miner on board, the 3-card cycle, only 5 elixir to get back around to your next one. So here we go. Check this out. Gets the... and so you see Morten trying to go for the Mighty Miner play to defend against that one, but it's just hard. It's just really, really hard. Should be arrows here. Yep, drill does go all the way to the back this time. Knows he's not against skeletons. And just so you guys know, I'll probably do a short on it soon. You can activate, and he's calling a good game here. He knows it's over. You can activate King Tower against a drill played behind Princess Tower with skeletons. I'll try to do a short on it to break down that technique. But it's one of the reasons why, one of 2 main reasons why you don't see drill players play behind tower very often. The other one being that the Goblin has to walk a really far way to get to tower. If you play directly behind, it's just a problem. You see the zap on defense, trying to arrow. So Morten trying to do everything he can here in this bait matchup. But the arrows go on offense, trying to clear away for his drill. Not going to happen. And now he's just trying to sell out as much as possible. Notice again, he's just trying to put pressure at the bridge here and give up damage and play defense with zaps against these Goblin Barrels. Really all he can do at this point. Arrows on offense, trying to find some way to steal it. 252 remaining. Those aren't going to do it. 1 wall breaker getting through won't change anything. Rocket comes down. Lucas played that perfectly and also had a really, really nice deck pick overall. So you see Lucas going back with Jebas. Again, it felt like maybe Goblin Barrel. That's why I started off the game saying Log is out, but he's not going to pick bait. And immediately first card out is just, shut up, Rich. It's bait. So, this is one of those mind games, right? Where the obvious pick is bait. Morten and whoever he's picking with go for something other than bait for their deck pick, right? They think that they put Lucas somewhere else because bait's the obvious pick. That's the number 1 pick. So they go to counter something else. And then you see a total shift where the mind game goes back, where Jebas and Lucas making the call that Morten's going to play for something other than bait as his pick, and they go that way. GG, well played. Zap is... You see so little Zap in this game right now. Honestly, pretty shocked to see Zap in that deck. Be curious to see what the reasoning was behind putting the least used spell, I think. I have to imagine Zap has the lowest use rate. Maybe Rocket might have lower, but amongst competitive... Like when you're talking about top 1,000 players, Rocket's certainly much higher because of its prolific nature in log bait decks. You got to imagine that amongst top 1,000 players, that Zap is the lowest use rate spell of the damage dealers. And so take a look. I said, come on, I didn't see the trophy. That's what they're playing for. 6,000 euros, the grand prize of this 15,000 euro prize pool. Plus, of course, that trophy. What I wanted to see was that guy next to Morten, who, again, Morten is tall. It's not that guy's short. Morten is, I think, 6'7", which is crazy. So Morten looking like a Royal Giant here in game number 3. Lucas bringing out the Goblin Cage. Log out on both sides. Mighty Miner out on both sides. Maybe going heavy here is Lucas, and looking more and more like a Royal Giant from Morten, with Fishboy and Ghost. Bird goes down, Barbarian goes down, no egg pop. Golden Knight for Lucas. I don't think Lucas played NATO in game number 1. No, he played Graveyard, so no NATO. It was Arrows and Snowball in game 1. So I think E-Giant is the deck for Lucas. And there you go, easy King Tower activation against the Ghost. E-Giant versus Royal Giant with the Bird in the mix. Just a little pressure play on the left-hand side from Morten. Get a little bit of damage there. No response out of Lucas, though. Lucas more in the hole. Morten more on the board in terms of Elixir. Gonna get that Golden Knight the heck out of here and try to get one shot on tower. Doesn't happen. So separating these two, 32 HP if you go crosswise, a bit more if you go lane for lane, 101. But that Royal Ghost going to change that math a little bit here and add a significant chunk of damage on that left-hand side. Lucas choosing to ignore it. And just going to set up a big push into the same lane as this giant skeleton. Is he playing Lightning here? There you go. Boom. AQ when Lightning hasn't been played is certainly a risky choice here. And you see Lucas going for Golden Knight rather than Archer Queen deck. Having played Skeleton King and Mighty Miner. Had 3 options. I think Monk's kind of dead, though, so really had 2 options, Golden Knight and Archer Queen, and reading that Royal Giant was still there, Lightning was still there, opted not to go AQ. And again, these Lightnings are going to be trouble for Morten. Does have a pretty significant lead right now. But man, if they're going to be trouble. And it's just straight up classic Golem. Big pile of rocks, Golden Knight behind, Baby Dragon high. I think that Phoenix survives and does, no it does not, gets pulled in. Or gets pushed in, excuse me. And that is just a ton of damage. Just like that, Lucas back in the lead. And now attempting to RG the opposite direction, but Cage will be there. AQ protected. This is nice, though. This is really nice for Morten. Gets one shot, not enough. Fisherman doesn't pull the bird. Does it matter? And no, it won't. Baby Dragon does not turn to the Archer Queen. That's a bit risky there. A few shots in the Baby Dragon, 534. This just suddenly changed the math drastically. Just a hair off there for Morten. And that Lightning clears the path, but not enough. That Baby Dragon was really, really rough for Morten. Now Royal Giant down, Ghost in front. This shouldn't be... I don't think we're going to see Morten break through a lot here. Between the NATO, the Cage, and all the DPS, this should be just easy pickings here for Lucas, who made his live on stage debut at this event maybe a month or so before World Finals, and now is just 25 seconds away from going to the finals at his third ever live event. And yeah, good game, well played. That's going to be it. GG. Lucas with the fist pump. Very, very happy overall with the way that one went down. And in his performance overall, a little hug from Jebus. Jebus, of course, giving some love to Morten. Good friends all around here. And that's a big win overall for Lucas, who will be moving on to the finals in this event. And Morten will be out in third/4th place. Let's take a look at the prize pool here. Let me go ahead and see if I can get that prize pool queued up for you guys. And there you go. There's our prize pool. So Morten going to walk away with 1,000 euros from this one alongside the loser of Ruben versus Vitor. And now on the other side of things, it's Lucas guaranteed at least 3,000 euros. Here we go. Taking a look at the bracket. Lucas all the way through to our grand final. What a run, taking down North America's Snapdragon Pro Series former champion in Arden Toas. Then Bale of Team Queso. Then our number 2 finisher from World Finals, 2-time second place at World Finals in Morten. And yeah, there's the clean feed there. You see Revel Amar hosting the Spanish language version of this show. And then, of course, moving on to our grand final overall. So really great work, great performance by Lucas from top to bottom. Here we go, take a look one more time at that prize pool. So it's going to be Ruben or Vitor on the other side of things to get into this matchup. And I believe we have the two guys just about getting ready on stage here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Here you go. Ruben working with Javi 14, formerly of SK Gaming, and before that, Fnatic. And before that, Vivo Keyed. Javi, I believe, has more wins in Teams CRL than any other player. I believe he had 150-something wins total in his career. Some crazy number like that. Javi, of course, taking Vivo Keyed all the way to second place at 2018 World Finals, the first year of CRL teams. And then moving into CRL West after that, and spending some time with Fnatic, and then moving on to that powerhouse squad with SK Gaming alongside Sam Morten and Sergio Ramos. Across from Ruben on the other side, saying hello. The pride of Portugal, Vitor, will be facing off against a defending world champion. As we're talking here, we can take a nice look at Vitor. Vitor had a good run at World Finals this year in CRL, and of course his third consecutive World Finals appearance after the 2020 World Finals, and then of course the followed by that 2021, and then this last year. Here we go. Let's jump into our gameplay against the former world champion, the 2020 world champion from Vitor's first trip, Ruben, formerly of Team Queso, now with SK Colossus. Cal. Minor wall breakers for Vitor. Looking like it might be fireball bait here for Ruben with the flying machine. Does get one shot in. Vitor happy to chip away a little bit there, 27-62. And it doesn't really matter what the meta does. There's going to be a variation of minor wall breakers, and it seems like it's viable. That's the thing about minor and wall breakers together, is you'll find there's a way to make those two work. Bats getting taken care of by the E-Spirit. Fireball for the flying machine. This is a good matchup for Vitor. When you see that flying machine, you desperately want to have a fireball. Now, of course, if this is probably being pigs, not sure what the building situation is or isn't for Vitor. That will change the math on the matchup. Let me think about this one. E-Spirit, the cage is kind of, is not brilliant for Ruben in this matchup. Right? Nothing he's trying to pull here. I guess it does help with the wall breakers. But wall breakers will be more for pressure and less for damage. Really, it's the minor that Ruben has to be worried about. The bats and the wall breakers are bonus damage here. Wall breakers force out responses. Bats forces out the E-Spirit or puts some pressure behind with the minor if you can get it out of cycle. Should see Mighty Miner here. Yep, there you go. Did the flying machine get in range? And it did. So nice sequence there for Vitor. Good pickup for Ruben. No, a little bit late on the pickup, excuse me. And the Golden Knight dash does take care of business. Mighty Miner will get a little damage on the left-hand side, and that little damage gets a lot very quickly. Look at that. Miner doing work on the right-hand lane, Mighty Miner on the left-hand lane, and just like that, Vitor is way ahead in this one. Right-hand tower almost down to 1,000 HP. And there you go, bomb tower. So this now suddenly becomes a really difficult situation overall for Ruben. Bomb tower will be great against those piggies, great against the recruits. He's going to log this back, I think. He doesn't have to because the bats. Never mind, the bats and the Mighty Miner do their work. Preemptive 6-man picks up the Miner. Not going to get much there for Vitor. As the Law rips off those shields, we go into sudden death overtime. Pressure now from Ruben. 9:57 the mark on the right-hand side. Now, those of you who are mid-level players, keep an eye on the way that Vitor game manages here. Right? He's not going to overpressure. He's not going to play fireballs on offense a whole bunch. He's not going to try to win that tower down. He's going to just make sure he does not get overwhelmed on defense. Fireball is for that flying machine. Maybe the bats, but when you play bats high on the flying machine, you have to be worried about that electro spear. Miner with the recruits out of cycle. Smart play there for Vitor. You see if he bats this, you see, notice the low play here, just controlling the flying machine rather than throwing bats on it. And now the E-Spirit has to go to the Miner. Bats can get a lot more value on defense, and Vitor just played that picture perfect. Absolutely picture perfect. You saw Ruben go and look at Javi being like, man, come on. What do I even do here? And Jebus working with Vitor. Jebus also out of Portugal. Two guys who were teammates for the very talented Portuguese team at in the No-Tilt Worlds from the 2020 season. That team rounded out by LucasXGamer, and there was one more really good Portuguese player on there. Portugal has been quiet and underrated in Clash Royale for a long time, and really I think that this version of Clash kind of finally woke everyone up to what Portugal has. You have Vitor, who's always been a very good player, who's becoming an even better player. You know, he's had some top 10 performances as a on the world stage. And then Jebus, who is better than 95%, 98% of people who play the game, but who's even more brilliant as a coach and deck picker, and has been able to go ahead and win a world championship with Mohamed Light, worked very well with his countryman Vitor. Ruben and Javi trying to figure out what the heck do we do in this one. What's our game plan to try to win this matchup? Not an easy task at all. Down by 1. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they have planned for us here in game number 2. Log out, fireball out, bomb tower out. Does Ruben go bait? Ruben doesn't play a lot of bait here. Goes Miner instead. So might be Miner wall breakers for Ruben. And with fireball out, we might be seeing Vitor going with some sort of fireball bait deck. Looking like Graveyard instead for Vitor. Happy to charge up the Skeleton King. Poison, not what you want to see as the Graveyard player. And it's Royal Giant. My deck picks have been slightly off today. Slightly off, Rich? Yeah, just a little bit. Leave me alone. Miner, Ice Spirit, Royal Giant gets slowed down nicely. The Monk is an interesting choice here for Ruben. And that Monk doesn't really have great opportunities. Really only the Mother Witch. Mortar Miner Monk Bird for Ruben. My guess is he got really comfortable playing this during the Bird Monk era and went for a comfort pick here. But Phoenix certainly not as good as it once was, and Monk maybe even worse so. Royal Giant down, Bird to play. Zappy's right there to slow down that DPS. RG still will go down, doesn't matter though. And that's a nice poison out of Ruben to control the bridge. Ruben can control these bridge fights decently well. The question is, can he break through? And having fallen behind already by a not insignificant margin. A few hundred HP, about 700 HP if you look from the top left to bottom right. This is hard for Ruben to come back from. So, Monk to try to win this bridge fight. Poison offensive. This is a good poison. He's going to get a lot of value here. As the Monk does get some reflections as well. Does the bird get the zappy off? And it does. RG down. DPS, second bird down for Ruben. Goblins as well. So he should be able to do some good DPS here. RG might get one, might get none. Gets 0. But look at this push on the right-hand side. Mother Witch, Skeleton King does pop. Poison and its leavings will clean most of it up. Here we go. Sudden death overtime. Ruben is back in the mix. 1952 to 1654. Just under 300 HP separating these two. Vitor from a trip to our finals. Ruben from a game 3. And Lightning killing the Phoenix is such a huge change to the Phoenix. Miner does get 2 before the Zappy's turning it around. Keeps on going, though. Zappy's not quite in the right spot. 1337 to 1496, a minute 12 remaining. Now Miner's coming in fast here. Still going to the #1 spot is Ruben, though. You got to think he might want to start mixing those spots up at this late stage in the game. You know he's not playing NATO. You got to start creating some variety here. DPS shuts down the RG. What does Ruben have on the right-hand side? Log clears Phoenix to continue that job. 1337, still the number on Ruben's left-hand tower. Poison going to work on the right-hand side. Ruben's in a mortar up. Get the goblins down. Trying to protect the bird maybe is Vitor. No bird there. But this would be a lot of... This might be the killing blow here. Royal Giant gets 1. Does it get 1 more? And it does. 99 HP. Can Ruben get enough damage? Can Ruben block here? Ruben does have goblins. He plays it. Vitor waits and gets the win. GG. Well played. Vitor taking the big-time win off of the former world champion in Ruben. And they're going to a final where it's going to be Vitor and Lucas, former teammates, going to go head-to-head for our championship. And oh, there we go. I missed the transition one more time. Oh, there you take a look at Revel. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Vitor going up against Lucas in the grand final for all the marbles. And that's what you really want to see, right? You want to see the big guys going for it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the at our grand final. Former teammates, a part of Pain Gaming in that 2020 squad that went to World Finals. The squad that everyone counted out, but did end up having a great performance at the end. And man, they're making these switches happen really, really fast. So on one side, you'll have Lucas. Other side, you will have Vitor playing for our prize pool. 6,000 euros, the grand prize for this one. So we'll see who can come out on top in that matchup. Of course, a very nice 3K to our second place player. But you really want that 6,000 and, of course, that big-time trophy. That will be our matchup in our next video, our grand finals. Of course, we had quarterfinals part 1. We had quarterfinals part 2. We just showed you the semifinals. Up next will be our grand final, the matchup, to see who gets the trophy, who gets the big money, and, of course, who gets the bragging rights between these two friends. I think that Jebus is actually cornering for both of them. So no matter who wins, Jebus has secured himself his percentage of 9,000. Let's take a look at the money again. So 6K to first place, 3K to second place. So Jebus has secured whatever his percentage is of 9,000 euros. So good job, Jebus. I think this means he has to sit out and not pick Friday. They just have to go head-to-head and see what they pick. So that's going to be a pretty exciting one between those two. And, of course, you can see that matchup right here on this channel. That's right, this channel, the best place for Clash Royale esports. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Hit that button, the subscribe button. That's the one where you click it, and then it tells you when new videos come up. Also, ring the bell. That's the notifications thing. Go ahead, hit ding on that bell so that you know when we have the next video, like the finals. What are the finals again? Boom. Those finals. Ring the bell so you know when the final between Lucas and Vitor is up and when all the cool stuff we're doing in 2023 is happening. Lots more live events here on the channel. Some more special showcase matches happening here on the channel in 2023. So you can make sure that you see all of it by subscribing, hitting that bell, and of course, if you want to support the channel, like this video, leave a comment below. Get involved, help a brother out, let's have some fun together as we do more great Clash Royale esports. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been a blast hanging out with you, and as always, be excellent to each other. Peace.